Welcome to Let's Talk Theater. I'm your host, Julie Whitney Scott, and I have with me today Clarence Holmes Jr., who is the playwright for Poll Tax for Sista Blu, a play that I am so proud to be directing this year at the 14th Annual Columbus Black Theater Festival. This year, our theme is carrying on from last year with still standing strong, but adding another element, voices of triumph. Welcome, Clarence, to Let's Talk Theater. Let's talk about Poll Tax for Sista Blu. Why don't you start off with introducing yourself to my audience?
I sure will. I am a native New Orleanian who has been living in Houston, Texas since Hurricane Katrina. The entire time I was in Louisiana, I taught HBCU students. I taught them composition. I taught them literature, primarily African-American literature. I really loved what I was doing with my students. They actually loved learning about African-American literature, which frankly, none of them had really learned. They didn't know much about that. Many of them, this was the first time that they had ever read an African-American literary story. But I have to tell you, Julie, the whole time I was teaching these students, 30 years, I wanted to be writing for the stage and screen. I really did. I wanted to be writing for the stage and screen. And I guess teaching the literature and reading those stories made me want to write even more. After I retired, then I decided that I was going to do what I always wanted to do, and that was write for stage and screen. Eventually, Julie, you'll have a chance to peruse my website and you'll see the scripts that I have written, both stage plays and screenplays, and you'll see exactly what I'm trying to do with my writing. As I say on my website homepage, I do write to entertain, but more so than that, I write to inspire and I write to teach. And that is that's my entire goal. As long as I'm around, as long as I'm writing, I'll be writing not only to entertain, but also to inspire and to teach, to educate.
You know, that's why I write. I write to entertain, to educate, and to show empathy so other people can get into the world. So tell us, first off, I am so happy that you submitted poll tax for Sista Blu, especially at a time as today. I mean, it is so relevant right now, this story that you wrote. And why don't you tell us a little bit about why you wrote poll tax for Sista Blu?
And I wrote my first play, Bridge in the Distance. I wrote that in 2019. Okay, it was a 10-minute play. It's about a man in Selma, Alabama, who marches across Pettus Bridge on foot because his car's brakes don't work. He is trying to get to the only precinct where Black people are allowed to vote. He gets to the precinct, he votes, and fortunately, his one vote counted because the person he voted for won the election by one vote. So then that was a man who crossed the bridge and did what he had to do, overcame obstacles in order to vote. So again, that's a man going across the bridge and overcoming obstacles to vote. I just decided, you know what? I'm going to write a play about a woman who does what she has to do in order to vote, because I don't want students to think, Black students especially, I don't want them to think that only men did what they felt they had to do in order to change American lifestyle in terms of Black people voting. And so I wrote Sista Blu. Now, in Sista Blu's case, I don't show her in the 10-minute play, obviously walking across the bridge. I don't show her walking across the bridge as I did with Minister Sam in Bridge in the Distance. Instead, I show that she is already at the precinct where Black people can be allowed to vote, the only precinct where Black people are allowed to vote. But now I'm showing the audience the obstacles that she had to go through in order to vote. I mean, she's there, true. She's there. Okay, that's true. She's there. But the fact that she's there is not going to allow her to vote just because she's there. So now she has to pay the poll tax.
Clarence, can you tell us, the audience, how important? Now, you started off with this vision in 2019 about telling a story about the voting and the struggles of voting. How relevant, and did you ever think when you wrote this that here in 2026, this play, Poll Tax for Sister Blue, would be so relevant, especially in the way that your story tells? Because as you said, in educating people, a lot of these, especially the young people, had no idea that, oh, you couldn't vote unless you passed this test, unless you paid this money, unless you had these bills. The obstacles that kept people from voting. And Poll Tax for Sister Blue does such a good job of showing that. But did you ever think at that time that here this would be so relevant at this time, when here we are and people more, here are obstacles trying to be put in the way of keeping not just black but anybody that doesn't go along with a party to vote?
Okay, so again with poll tax, even though in 2019 I did not realize that a play of that nature would be so relevant and so timely in 2026, now I realize just how relevant it is. When I watch the news, um, especially, I'm not talking about Fox News, but when but when I watch CNN, which I hope will continue to be the CNN that it is today. I don't know if that's going to be the case, given what's going on with that network. But when I watch MS Now, for instance, and I get the true picture of what's going on in the White House, I realize, just how relevant poll tax for Sister Blue is. Even though in today's time, there is no poll tax, for instance, a person who goes out to vote does not have to pass a literacy test, for instance, as Sister Blue has to. But there are still obstacles that are being put in people's way today. May not be the literacy test, may not be the poll tax, but there are still obstacles that are put out there. ICE agents, for instance, President Trump saying, for instance, he is going to have ICE agents at the poll precincts. The fact that he's going to try to stop mail-in voting. The fact that he's trying to get people who just do whatever he says to go to particular cities and try to get the voters' polls, so that in their ballots and their information, so that he can see who they are, and the fact that in some cases they're trying to make sure that people have passports, instead of licenses, instead of driver's licenses. How many people have passports, these days? So all of that, in a way, is the same as the literacy test and the poll tax. It's not the same, obviously, but it's basically a reflection of those things that Sister Blue had to deal with. And so when I wrote Sister Blue, what I'm thinking is it teaches people about what happened in 1966. It teaches them about the Voting Rights Act. It teaches them what the obstacles are, but it also takes them forward to 2026, and it shows them how timely the play is, because it brings up other obstacles that are being put in our way to keep us from voting.
What would you have the audience members walk away with after they see Poll Tax for Sister Blue?
What I'm hoping is, if there are audience members, and I do hope that there are many young people in the audience, especially young Black people in the audience, I'm hoping this play will resonate with them. I'm hoping they won't just like clap and laugh, because Sista Blu, she does some funny stuff. She says some funny things too. I'm hoping that the audience members will absorb more than just some laughter and just say, okay, yeah, nice play, nice play. I'm hoping what happens when they leave, because we have a midterm election coming up in November. And hopefully this midterm election, if Democrats win, is going to have an impact on our democracy, because the current president actually is trying to take this country back to autocracy. And when it comes to Black people, in my view, I think this current president is trying to take America back to the Jim Crow days. What I'm hoping is that the young Black people who see this play in Columbus, what I'm hoping, even if they weren't considering voting before they saw the play, I'm hoping they say to themselves as they're walking, out of the theater, as they're heading to their cars, I'm hoping they'll say to themselves, you know what? I'm going to vote in November. I wasn't planning to vote in November, but I'm going to vote in November. Even if no one else I know, even if none of my friends vote, even if my family members don't vote, I hope that my singular vote will count. My vote will count, because that's an important point that I think we need to make. Every vote.
I hope that too. I also hope, because we have a wide audience of all races and cultures that come to the Black Theater Festival. I'm hoping also that everyone that leaves not only leaves with a sense of we need to vote, but also leaves with a sense of understanding where we were and where it's trying to go. And is that what we want here in America? Is that what we want here? And not just Black people, all people. Is that what we want? Do we want to go back to the days when we suppressed the power of the vote, which is what the administration is doing now, trying to suppress the power of the vote? But I believe, and I just believe it, that people will vote. And I think that poll tax for Sista Blu will help them, push them into thinking about the importance of voting and allowing the freedom of everyone to vote. Clarence, I want to thank you again for being with us today. Why don't you tell the audience how they can get in touch with you about your plays?
Oh, sure. Fine. They can go to my website, contraflow17.com, CONTRAFLOW 17.com. On the website, they will see all of the projects and scripts I've written. They will also see my Facebook page and my Instagram page, and they will be able to contact me if indeed they're able to go through and peruse my website page.
So, Clarence, I want to thank you so much for being with me today on Let's Talk Theater and talking about poll tax for Sista Blu. As I said, I'm really honored to direct this play, and you will be happy with the actors that are playing it, especially the one that's playing Sista Blu. And like you said, they're going to go away. They're going to laugh a little bit, yeah, but they're also going to, think. It's a thought-provoking play. And I love directing thought-provoking plays and presenting them.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm going to try to get to Columbus because I really want to see this play. Even though it's just a 10-minute play, I just want to be there. I want to meet you in person. So I'm going to do everything I can to get there. But if I don't get there, you send me the video, I'm going to share that video with everybody on my Facebook page, on my Instagram page, on your page. I'm just going to do everything I can to get that play out.
Share.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yes, and it will also be the whole festival will be on my website, www.mindforgodproductions.com, and this of course is after the fact, but you out there in the audience, go ahead and get your early bird tickets now, and we're going to see you at the Columbus Performing Arts Center this July the 2nd 3rd, and 5th at the Columbus Performing Arts Center, downtown Columbus, Ohio. We got 7 great plays. Poll tax for Sista Blu is just one of them, and you don't want to miss it.